Right, Clause 8.1, Operational Planning and Control. Here is the thing about Clause 8.1. It is the shortest clause that will quietly humiliate you. Everybody obsesses over Clause 6, the risk assessment, and Clause 9, the internal audit, because those are the bits that feel like ISO. 8.1 is the bridge between them. It is the clause that asks a very simple question. You wrote all that down. Do you actually do it? So let's start with what it actually says, because most people skim it. Org organization shall plan, implement, and control the processes needed to meet information security requirements and to implement the actions you determined back in 6.1. And it tells you how you establish criteria for those processes. Then you control the processes in accordance with those criteria. You keep documented information to the extent necessary to have confidence that the processes have been carried out as planned. You control planned changes, you review the consequences of unintended changes, and take action to mitigate any adverse effects. And you make sure that externally provided processes, products, and services relevant to your management system are controlled. That's it, that's the clause. 4 moves. Now watch what happens to those 4 moves on a normal Tuesday. Let's take a small software company, 12 people, good product, real customers, one of whom is an enterprise buyer who has just sent over a security questionnaire the size of a phone book. So they go for the certification, they hire a consultant, they get a beautiful set of documents, the secure development policy, the change management procedure, the supplier management policy, everything version controlled, everything approved, everything with a little review date, 12 months out, adorable. Tuesday arrives. Dave is on call. Dave is the only person who really understands the deployment pipeline, because Dave built it at 2 in the morning in the company's first year, and nobody has been brave enough to touch it since. There's a bug in production. Customers are shouting. Dave fixes it, tests it locally, pushes it live, and tells the team in Slack with a thumbs up emoji. Now, was that wrong? No, that was Dave being excellent. That is exactly the person you want on call. Go back to the clause. Where are the criteria? The change management procedure says changes get peer-reviewed, risk-assessed, and approved by the Change Advisory Board. The Change Advisory Board is a document. It is not a thing that exists. Dave has never met it. That's the gap, not a policy gap, a reality gap. And here's the distressingly honest bit. Most of us don't have a management system. We have a folder of documents that describes a company we would like to be, which is fine. That's aspiration. That's lovely. It just isn't a control. Let me do the 4 moves properly, in Tuesday language. Criteria first. Criteria means, what does done properly look like, specifically for this process? Not changes shall be appropriately reviewed. Appropriately is not a criterion. Appropriately is a word you use when you don't want to commit. A criterion is, every change to production requires one approving reviewer who is not the author. Emergency changes may bypass review and must be reviewed within 1 working day. That's a criterion. It has a shape. You can tell whether you met it or not. Second, controlling in accordance with the criteria. This is where the whole thing lives or dies. And the trick, the actual trick, is to put the control where the work already happens. If your criterion lives in a Word document in a shared drive, it is a suggestion. If your criterion is a branch protection rule that will not let Dave merge without a second approval, it is a control. Same requirement, completely different Tuesday. Third, documented information to the extent necessary to have confidence the process was carried out as planned. Read that again because there's a gift hiding in it, to the extent necessary. The standard is not asking for a spreadsheet of everything you have ever done. It's asking whether you can look at the evidence and honestly say, yes, that happened the way we said it would. Your pull request history is documented information. Your ticket trail is documented information. Your pipeline logs are documented information. You're probably already generating better evidence than the register you are hand-filling in every Friday afternoon and resenting.
Fourth, changes. 2 kinds, and 8.1 names both. Planned changes, you control. Unintended changes, you review the consequences of, and you act to mitigate anything adverse. That second half is the one people miss entirely. The clause knows things will happen that you did not plan. It is not asking you to be clairvoyant. It is asking whether, when something moved that nobody meant to move, you noticed. You looked at what it meant for security, and you did something. Noticing is the control. Most organizations discover unintended changes at the same moment their customers do.
And then the last line. Externally provided processes, products, and services relevant to your management system shall be controlled. Your cloud provider, your identity provider, your outsourced developers, that contractor in another time zone with production access that nobody can quite remember granting. Look, you cannot control your cloud provider. Nobody is auditing a hyperscaler from a 12-person startup. What you can control is your side of the line. What they are responsible for, what you are responsible for, what you configured, what access you granted, and what happens when they have a bad day. The most expensive words in information security are, "I assumed that was covered by the platform." So here's the honest tagline for Clause 8.1. It's the clause that checks whether your management system survives contact with actual work. And the answer for most companies at first attempt is no. Not because they're negligent, because writing a process is a morning's work and living one is forever. Right. Here's your dare, pick your single most security relevant process. Deploying code, granting access, whichever one keeps you up at night. Now go and find the last 3 times it actually ran. Not the policy, the real events, last week, in the real system. Compare them to what your document says should have happened. If all 3 match, congratulations, you have a control. If they don't, you don't have a finding. You have homework, and you have found it before your auditor did, which is the entire point. Go and look today, before Dave deploys again.